You're hanging out after hours with Matt Anderson, presented by Inside the Gamecocks.
Welcome in, everybody. How about that?
How about it, Phil? I mean, what is this? Number 6 in the country and then number 5 in the country, less than 7 days apart. And look, if you're not paying attention to the Gamecocks, to quote my friend Jamie Bradshaw, go ahead and start paying attention, because this is crazy.
Yeah.
Phil, what would you say about it? I mean, crazy, right?
I mean, it just improbable is an excellent word. But do it on the road. Okay, check. Just complete. And
I mean, beat Kentucky by 17.
Went exactly like how I figured you would draw it up, right? I mean, just bang them, make them play your game, and just bog it down. And you could tell 3 quarters through this game, Tennessee was not ready to have somebody go at them like they go at other teams, and just weren't used to it. And you came away with a win.
Dude, Phil, like, look at this. I keep these little charts.
I know. I saw your chart when you texted me that. I was like, man,
throw it out the window, because after halftime, I said, what are we doing here? Like, the Gamecocks are, lick for lick, tack for tack. The Gamecocks just withstood every bit of anything Tennessee had. And look, before we go celebrating South Carolina, and look, we're going to do a lot of that tonight. Absolutely. But Dalton Knecht is an unbelievable basketball player. I mean, Tennessee scored 59 points. He had 31. And I said it last night. I said it last night on my show. I said, look, Tennessee might be getting used to having one guy score 30 to 50% of their points, but what's going to happen when you let that guy go get his and you stop everybody else, which is what South Carolina did tonight. I mean, Dalton had a pretty good first half, not like a ridiculous first half, but like a ridiculous second half. I mean, just a freaky kind of performance. And looking at it, South Carolina held everybody but Dalton Knecht and Vescovi had 10 points. And look, Tennessee's a really good team, and I said that. And I'm sure Craig is in here somewhere, and Craig said that first team to 50. And look, Gamecocks won 63-59. I'm pretty sure the Gamecocks got to 50 first. I don't know. I just threw away my sheet that has all the information on it. But Gamecocks absolutely found a way tonight. I mean, looking at this game, and I'm sure Ken Palm's going to update here in a little bit. But, Phil, if I told you that you were going to get 4 points from Colin Murray-Boyles, 0 points from Zachary Davis, 3 points from Michi Johnson, and a total of 9 points from Josh Gray and Jacoby Wright, like, what would you say would have happened?
You're going to have a long night.
Absolutely. I mean, the Gamecocks scored 63 points, and, basketball is a 40-minute game. So 63 points in 40 minutes means that they didn't really score much more than a little over a point per possession. But, man, was it enough tonight. And, I can't say enough about Miles Stute and the way he was calm, cool, and collected and went to the free throw line. I was listening to Derek Scott, and Derek Scott does an amazing call every single time. And I need to listen to him more. Sometimes it's just hard for me with, family, all that kind of stuff to like line up the Gamecock broadcast. But Derek Scott, who was on your show earlier today, just if you're not listening to Derek, and I'm going to pull a Jamie Bradford out of my pocket here, start listening to Derek Scott when he calls the game, because he calls it better than the announcers do. And if you're sick of the ESPN announcers that are just, oh my gosh, Tennessee's going to find a way to win this game, like Derek Scott is not that. But looking at it, BG Mack had 16 points on 15 shots, 1 of 8 from 3. BJ had really, really good looks, and I don't think it's going to be very often that BJ goes 1 for 8. I mean, he say what you want about BJ, but he's not going to go 1 for 8. And the reason I know that he's not going to go 1 for 8 from three is because he went 7 for 8 from the free throw line. There is absolutely nothing wrong with BJ Mack's shot. And with BJ, he's a completely different player when he's hitting threes. When he's not hitting threes, it becomes more and more difficult for him to get his shots. And if you watch the last, Phil, what was the last minute and a half, 2.5 minutes of the game? And the Gamecocks were in the double bonus. Tennessee was in the double bonus. And the previous possession, BJ just pounded, and eventually drew a foul. And, I was watching the game with my mom. My mom's the biggest Gamecock fan that ever existed. And I always cherish the opportunity to watch games with her. I said, look, when BJ is going to do the exact same thing, he's going to dribble. He's going to get stripped. And he did. But guess what? It didn't matter. And that's what I want to impress upon everybody is Lamont Paris's offense is going to find a way to score points every single time down court. And it might be BJ taking a shot that we all say, oh my God, what are you doing, BJ? Or it might be Michi. Why are you pulling up from 45 feet? Michi didn't do that. But, there's not a shot on the court that Lamont Paris does not want these Gamecocks to take. And it's evident in looking at how the Gamecocks play right now. Talon Cooper, I'm still waiting for the minutes to refresh, but he had to be on the court the entire time. He hit dagger after dagger. The game got to 2 points. All of a sudden, Talon hits a 3. It's 5 points. The game got to 3 points. Talon hits a 3. It's a 6-point game. He is an absolute maestro. I'm just telling you guys right now, enjoy Talon Cooper for this 1 year you have him. And for all the people that say Talon can't play in the NBA, look, that guy will surprise you. 18 points tonight on 6 of 10 shooting, 4 of 5 from 3-point line, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and 1 foul. And the dude probably played 33 to 37 minutes. Phil, I want to get your take. What was your take on this? And what does Phil, the guy behind the mic, the producer, have to say about this? Because I want Phil to get his time right now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is it. It's exactly like I wanted it to look. It's exactly like Coach Paris said was the winning recipe to win this game, right? It's like you've got to do everything that they did. Here it is. And we think about, okay, Michi Johnson has been off, at least from an offensive perspective, for the past 2 games. And this team has found a way to work around that and come back every time. It's just they are consistent with this. Stute, I can't say enough about Miles Stute coming off of injury. I was expecting limited minutes, not very much game time tonight. And here he is nailing the 4 clutch 3 free throws. That had he missed any of those, this game's a game, right? We're probably still watching overtime right now. And Talon Cooper, Mike Morgan talked about man crush on Talon Cooper. Me too. Put me in there too. Like I'm simping all over Talon.
Talon Cooper is Phil's Taylor Swift at the Chiefs games.
He is definitely top. I think they said top 3 point guards in this conference. You're hard pressed to say he's not battling for the top spot. He really just is. Came in clutch with that 3-pointer, just like you said. They mucked it up as much as they needed to. Tennessee could not match the energy towards the end of the game. They were not having to fight full 40 minutes like the Gamecocks put them through tonight. This is a team that I said at the beginning, if you were to blindly construct a team to go deep, run into the tournament, what does it look like? It looks like solid guard play. And it looks like experience and minutes. And this team has it. And rank that, y'all. How about that?
Yeah.
That's what I love. It's like they carried. This team carried that chip on their shoulders into one of the most hostile environments when it's packed out. This Tennessee team has been living on top of Rocky Top with nobody coming after them. Well, they're coming tonight, boys, and they got you.
Dude, it's actually funny, Phil, because for all of the fun it is for the Gamecocks to have, back-to-back top 10 wins in 7 days, it's also a testament to the team. They are exactly what you said, battle-tested. They took their lump at Alabama, but guess what? They have 3 losses on the season. They have 18 wins. They're 6-2 in conference, and they're 2 losses out of like the flukiest game I've seen from the Gamecocks this entire season is, 10 points combined over 2 games. The Clemson game, they had a double-digit lead. The Georgia game, they had a double-digit lead. And I said this a couple weeks ago. This is a learning moment for the Gamecocks. How do you find a way to carry the lead over? And I know Lamont's not going to be perfect here, Phil. I know this 100%. No. But when you have let's just say you have a lead with 5 minutes to go in a game, like I feel pretty confident right now that Lamont understands the way the chess pieces work to say, okay, well, we're going to do this. They're going to do that. We're going to do this. They're going to feel pressed, and we're going to find a way to win this game out. And you know how you win those games? By not fouling, number one, and boxing out and playing tough defense and just making your free throws. Because as the game gets tight, as the game gets close, 5 minutes left, Phil, how many possessions do you have? Maybe 5 each. Maybe, right. It depends on how fast the other team moves and what the referees do. But, you're talking about a 5-possession game. And if the Gamecocks have the lead in a 5-possession game, they're just better than other teams are right now. And, guys, we're way past the conversation of, oh, my God, the Gamecocks are getting, no credit. Don't worry about that. That's going to come. The Gamecocks are going to get their credit. If you look at CBS.com, ESPN.com, whatever website you want to look at, the Gamecocks are going to get some credit tonight. And this Gamecock team doesn't need the credit. The credit is what we as fans want. And we as, people that support the team and, our media personalities, whatever the hell we are, Phil. I don't know if we're media personalities, and I apologize. I never cuss on this show, but yeah, it's a big win tonight. But whatever we want for the Gamecocks, it doesn't matter. And here's how I know that. I have a brother that played college basketball, and as a fan of him, as a fan of his team, nobody hurt more than that locker room after a loss, and nobody celebrated more after a win than those players in that locker room. So all this top 25, don't worry about it. And Mike Morgan says it every time he comes on your show and this comes up, that look, bracketology is what matters. And right now the Gamecocks are probably an 8 seed in the NCAA tournament coming into the game tonight. Look, don't freak out anymore. Just don't freak out. The Gamecocks are a good team. And if the Gamecocks, go, I don't know, they have 10 more conference games, they're probably going to go better than 5-5. But right now the Gamecocks are playing for seeding. And if you believe in good basketball, with good basketball is what I've seen so far, then now it just becomes how high can the Gamecocks go?
Yeah, and everything, that was true, say, 3 games ago before, these upsets happened is still true today. Do not lose quad 3, quad 4 games that you're just not supposed to. Have 0 inexplicable losses and steal a few of these big time quad 1, quad 2 games. Oh, we got to. Oh, don't worry, it's coming, JC. Here we go. All right.
Yeah, guys. So for those of you that don't know what just happened, JC Sherbert just popped in here, and JC, he must be a bingo, Phil. I don't know what he's doing right now, but he wants to watch too.
And there's no doubt. I don't doubt there's much bingo being paid attention to this evening.
but why Phil works through
games that you're not supposed to. Yeah, steal these games that you're not supposed to. Go in there and show everybody that you can hang with the best in the league, and then immediately, turn around, maybe pull off another one on the road Saturday against Georgia, whom you owe, by the way, because you had that game locked up and ended up couldn't, seal the deal, missing all the free throws towards the end. But
and you look at it, Phil, we talk about you look at the Q3, Q4 games, right? Guess what? There's only 2 of them left. There's only 2.
Right. You got to get through Vandy.
As of yesterday, Vanderbilt's a Q4 game, and then LSU's a Q3 game. You got LSU and Vanderbilt both at home. So one of the things that I urge Gamecock fans to do And I enjoyed being in the Missouri game this past weekend, but fill the Colonial Life Arena up because, look, if you guys are enjoying this and you're watching from home, and I get it, ticket prices, Ticketmaster, all that, it's tough. But if you can get out to Colonial Life Arena, Mike Morgan says it all the time. In Columbia, you have an 800,000 person, metropolitan area. You can put 18,000 seats in Colonial Life Arena. And I want everyone to enjoy this ride. It's a ride that, even when you think about, the Final Four run. Oh my gosh, we got JC Sherbert live in here.
Hey, good evening, guys. I had a nice, relaxing evening at home. Did not go and perch up anywhere to watch the game. Saw you were doing this and wanted to jump in.
Well, JC, I thought you were a bingo.
No, I've tried to forego bingo like the last couple of. I mean, tonight I didn't need to be at bingo because I was kind of glued to the television, watching every single play of this game, which went exactly like South Carolina needed it to go. To pull out a win like that. Yeah, I said a lot of good things about Tennessee earlier. I stand by that. They're a very good basketball team. But you know what, guys? It's okay to admit South Carolina's got a pretty damn good basketball team. I mean, those guys played exactly like they've played most of the year when they've been successful, and they've only lost 3 games. It's not like there's a lot of non-successful outings you can point to. Hats off to you and Matt and Mike and Phil that have been singing the praises of Talon Cooper for the last few weeks. I mean, spot on. How money was that guy?
Oh. He's unbelievable, JC. And I don't know if you were catching the show earlier, but I say he's just a maestro. He makes everything work. I mean, if you have a conductor of the best symphony in the world and you look in your program and it says Talon Cooper, yeah, that makes sense. The guy just knows what he's doing and just orchestrates everything beautifully. I have nothing but great things to say about Talon. For those of you that are wondering, the Gamecocks did just jump up to 46th in the country at KenPom. I thought the Gamecocks would probably jump a little bit higher. That's a 7-point jump. But at the same time, who gives a rip? The Gamecocks are 18-3 overall, and they're 6-2 in the SEC, and they're on their way to something absolutely fantastic. So, JC, did you have a moment of panic tonight?
Really? Okay, so when it was stuck on 48-44 for a long time. And then I think it got to 48-46. Phil, did it get to 2 points, 48-46 at some point?
I pull it to within 2, maybe.
They kept missing free throws.
They went on that run right out of the gate.
I gotta pull this out. Really
okay, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. It was 48-45, and it was stuck on that number for a while. And then I think Talon or Studi, one of those guys hit a 3. I think it was Talon. And then Carolina's up, and then I'll be honest, I was worried it was good when it got to be like a 1-possession game. It got to be 2 points, and I'll be honest, I was a little nervous the last 5 seconds. I mean, just because you could just see somebody making a bad pass, and that dude just dribbling and popping it and drilling it. That
was it. Yeah, the 2 most nerve-wracking moments in this game for me were those 2 inbounds at the end of the game. The last 2 that ended up with Studi at the free throw line, and I'm just like, oh my, just catch the damn ball.
Well, Phil, here's something I hate, and this just might be the basketball soul in me, but I've always been, talk after the game's over, and then talk as much as you really want to. I don't care, but I hate the shush. I hate it because I've seen enough basketball players do it. And then I don't know if they get in their own head, the crowd gets louder, but Studi did it after the first free throw of his, 4 consecutive.
Went like this. I'm like, oh no, don't do that.
Well, there's probably a little, for him coming from Vanderbilt though, he probably hates Tennessee extra bad, because he got his head handed to him by them. I think all 4 times he played him at Vandy, he probably did not have. And look, he had to play good. Miles Studi, guys, what can you say about that? I mean, what a good game, from him his first night back, and really from that corner, hitting those threes. He was money, especially the first half, when some others were maybe struggling.
Well, it was absolutely stabilizing for the Gamecock offense. And, it's kind of weird. And I told Phil this before we went live tonight, but there are just little moments in the games right now where it seems like God is smiling on the Gamecocks. It's a missed shot, and it's the Gamecocks having 3 guys around to get a rebound. And it's not necessarily a God smiling moment. It's a Gamecock hustle moment. And the Gamecocks are hustling their butts off every single time on offense and defense. And then they find a way to make that timely 3. And if you were listening to the broadcast tonight, I think it was, the Gamecocks were up by 4 points, and there was a minute and a half left. And Derek said, you know what would really be great? The Gamecocks to bust a 3 right now and just shut this stadium up. And it didn't happen, but guess what did happen? Gamecocks ran off, 4 free throws, and, Dalton Connect, like, goodness gracious, like, he is a fantastic player. I don't know how he hit that 3 with 11 seconds left. He's running back, grabs the ball, and it's a running 3-pointer. And, I told Phil, and we said this earlier, I was watching the game with my mom, and both of us were like, all right, well, less than 2 seconds left. Like, Gamecocks can't lose. And we looked up and like, all right, to Phil's point, get the freaking ball in. Here, don't make a dumb pass. It's something else.
No, smart though not to foul him on that 3-pointer where he just laid out, because he was stretched out, like looking for it. That 4-point play would have been huge because it could have tied the game, I think, on that first one. But man, I tell you what, I mean, Tennessee, I think JB pointed out earlier today too. It was like they may be relying on Connect too much, because at this point, and they even made comment on it, I think early in the second half or maybe midway through the second half on the TV broadcasting, that the confidence of the other guys on the floor just doesn't seem to be where it is. Like, that they mentioned the swagger that, Lamont had talked about with his team on offense. And there's only one dude on that court that's got swag, and he's flexing it. Don't get me wrong. Connect is playing himself into some big time money.
and it's crazy because they've got proven players. They've got how many 1,000-point scorers on that roster? But I mean, Connect's so good. I compare him to this, guys, and then I'll throw it to you, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. This whole game, Connect was kind of like a racehorse that you're holding back and holding back and holding back, and he's chomping at the bit, ready to go. Finally, there in the last 2 minutes, he got loose.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of. I was like, damn, he got loose, and took it over. So, but
it's really funny to see.
Thanks to Tennessee for missing key free throws and also missing like 28 layups tonight too. That
well, dude, those missed layups are not
from the line by more than the deficit tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if he just made all of them, then they'd win. Same way, if you just make all your 3-pointers, you're going to win every game. But kind of funny, JC used like the analogy of a racehorse, because my mom just would say, "Oh my gosh, here's that horse coming back in the game," and it was unbelievable. But, Tennessee has 5 stars. Adu is a 5-star. James is a 5-star. Estrella was a high 4-star. I mean, it's not like these guys are, scrubs. And obviously the number 5 team in the country. And if you look at Tennessee's, I just want to point out like what South Carolina just did tonight. When you look at Tennessee's resume right now, they now have 5 losses. But guess what? They lost to Purdue by 4. They look at Purdue by 4. They lost Purdue by 4, Kansas by 9, North Carolina by 8, Mississippi State by 5, and South Carolina by 4. So guess what? The Gamecocks just beat Tennessee by the same amount of points that Purdue beat them. Now, I'm not saying that South Carolina should be number 2 in the country, but I know how the transitive property works.
It's kind of interesting. Tennessee's 2 SEC losses are to 2 of the better defensive teams in the league, too, because Mississippi State will guard you as well. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, people are talking about my hat. I had it on the show earlier today, and I felt like it was good luck. So I may or may not have been watching the game with this hat on. So anyway, but and I made the point, if you took the beaver off, that's a Buc-ee's hat. If you took the beaver off, I kind of look like Wendy from like the fast food restaurant with the pigtails. I don't know. I'm not a little bit, not a very attractive Wendy,
Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy your cheeseburger, JC, but I'm sure you can make a mean one.
or that chili. Anyway, but no, guys. I mean, all right. So here's the history behind this win. The last time South Carolina beat a top 5 team on the road was in March of 1997 at Rupp Arena when B.J. Mackey, Melvin Watson, that team won the SEC that day on senior day at Rupp. That's one of the biggest wins regular season wise in program history during the SEC era. So this one has to be up there, and then to do it like on top of beating freaking Kentucky like a drum last week and beating Arkansas on the road. I know Arkansas is not that good, but beating them on the road by 13, that's still a tough place to play. Holding off a tough Missouri team. So now I guess it's time to go get revenge on Georgia on Saturday. That's not going to be an easy one, but man, oh man, what that's the history with this win though. But this is one of the most significant things to happen in 27 years.
When you look at potentially JC and look, I know that you have this Rolodex, and I'm so jealous of it. You remember everything, and I don't know if you remember what you had for lunch 3 days ago, but you can tell me what happened at South Carolina, Tennessee, 1997. You can tell me the exact score, who was the game leading scorer. But I say all that to say that, despite JC's Rolodex here, these 2 wins in 7 days, I don't know if the Gamecocks have ever had as 2 big wins as they've had back to back. I mean, you're talking about 7 days beating two top 10 teams. I don't have ESPN Sports and Information, but what I can tell you is that I don't believe it's ever happened.
Now, in the SEC era, probably not. I mean, they were an ACC and a national power, I'm sure there was like an NC State, Duke, North Carolina, Maryland kind of stretch where they won. I'm trying to think if any of Fogler's teams did that. No, I don't think Frank's teams did. Well, I mean, if you count the NCAA tournament.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like Duke regular season.
Regular season.
Because we need Charlie Mack. We need Charlie Mack here. He would know.
Kiss and hug the ones you love. It's touchdown Carolina. But no, I'm trying to think. Maybe Feeker or Steve Fink, somebody may have something like that on pretty good. But
so I'm going to show you all this really quick. This is a program from the 1996-1997 SEC basketball season that my mom actually got me this little cool case here, but it's autographed by the entire team. And I've had this entire season, and I keep it next to me, and I don't know if it's a good luck charm, but I'm glad it's protected right now because the Gamecocks have the opportunity to do something, pretty magical. And when you look at the upcoming season, I know I've heard you guys talk about it, and a lot of people talk about February being a tough month, but guess what? January's over. February, you have quad 2, quad 4, quad 1A. Guess what else is quad 1A? Tennessee tonight. And you go on the road against Auburn, who hasn't beat anybody this year in quad 1. Then you have LSU quad 3, and then Ole Miss is a quad 1 on the road. A&M's a quad 1 on the road. But, let's just go win everything. How about it? Let's just win it all.
Well, look, I'm gonna mention that too, and I want to get Phil's take on this too, man. So, all right, so the Georgia, you owe Georgia. South Carolina has had success against that team over the years. They've had success against Mike White through the years, although I think he's a really good coach, and he always kind of scares me. Like, I didn't
beat him to go to the Final Four.
I wanted to play Wisconsin and not Florida. I probably was stupid by thinking that. But back in when they went to the Final Four. But look, you go down there. It's another big game. You got to refocus really quick because if you lose it, maybe you don't get in the top 25. Stranger things have happened. But you go down there. That would be a quad 2, almost a quad. Quad 2 win
on the road. That's a solid 2, I think.
Yeah, and Georgia's a good team. I mean, they'll probably win some. So you go do that. Okay, so that's the end of the first half of the SEC schedule. You're 7-2. So the next week you got Ole Miss at home and Vanderbilt at home. You should win both of those games, as good as Ole Miss has, played at times under Chris Beard this year. If you stay focused, those are games you'll be favored in. You could be sitting at 9-2 with 7 conference games left. And at that point, guys, I don't think the discussion becomes now. Certainly, could you lose 8 straight and fall off the bubble? Absolutely. But I think the discussion then becomes, can this team win the SEC? Which,
that's a legitimate.
No, that JC, that discussion's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, can this team?
That's happening right now. What are they? Yeah, well, they've already beat Kentucky. They beat Tennessee, and you look at the rest of their schedule. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, JC, they've already beat Kentucky and Tennessee. I mean, you only have Auburn left, and it's an unbalanced schedule.
Yeah, you got Tennessee at home and Auburn on the road. And you don't have to play any more Kentucky or Bama. Phil, don't you think that when you kind of look ahead, and we all look ahead. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The team doesn't need to look ahead, but we can. Don't you think these next 4 kind of set up pretty nicely, I think, for the Gamecocks?
I think getting through this win, because JB and I were talking about this on the show yesterday, like, there's not much breathing room in this February, that they were saying. But I think now that we've gotten through tonight and looking at it, you're like, yeah, February, it's still the SEC, so it's still going to be tough, right? But it's definitely not what you just went through this past 7 to 10 days. You're not going to have that ever again, not through this.
Yeah, you avoid most on the the back 9 of the schedule. Mm-hmm. You're only got 2 games against the quote unquote, big 4, I guess. Most of the experts around the league say, wouldn't you say, Phil, Auburn, Bama, Kentucky, Tennessee,
Auburn,
all things being equal, or Auburn, Bama, Kentucky, UT, they're probably the 4 best teams.
You've got to say, those 4 in Carolina are the top 5 teams in this league. Carolina has played 2 of them and beaten them, lost to 1, and has the chance at Auburn coming up to really flex again. And there is no reason this team should feel any sort of pressure on them to go in there and win that game in a couple of weeks at Auburn, because you can play with anybody.
You're really quick, Phil. You're kind of playing with the casino's money at this point.
It's house money for sure. Yeah.
And I want to go back to what I said the other day on y'all's show and on my show. The computer metrics are the computer metrics. They didn't think the Gamecocks were going to beat Kentucky. They thought the Gamecocks were going to beat Georgia at home. But guess what the computer metrics said tonight? The computer metrics said that the Gamecocks were going to lose by 11.5 points. Bart Torvik and KenPom. And the Gamecocks just went into Knoxville and soundly beat them, throughout the entire game. This was never an 11.5 point Tennessee lead that the Gamecocks had to overcome. That they are just as good as the Kentuckys and the Tennessees out there. And I want to take a quick moment just to kind of update the computer stuff here, because, whether JC's on here or Phil's on here, it's still my show on late night.
Oh, yeah. I defer to you. We need pour some metrics on me, Matt Anderson.
Yeah, that's right.
I will do it.
Analytics.
So to start the season, KenPom had the Gamecocks at 6-10 in the SEC. And we can all get really, really mad at the metrics and say, like, okay, well, it's a stupid computer. Guess what the Gamecocks are right now at KenPom? 11-7. So these computer metrics catch up. So right now he's projecting 23-8, 11-7 in the SEC. And 2 weeks ago, that was 9-9 in the SEC.
That's a 6 seed, or it's a 5-6 seed, I think.
And when I talk about with all this stuff, like a lot of folks say, "Oh my God, an 8 seed or a 9 seed." Well, guess what, JC? I'm gonna make you do some quick math right here. 8 times 4,
32.
32. So when you look at the top 25 and you see the Gamecocks like receiving votes, guess what? That's an 8 seed. That's what it is.
Yeah, basically.
And when you look at the metrics and you say, like, okay, now South Carolina just got their second or third quad one win. They're now 7-2 in quad 1 and quad 2. I don't know when this stuff will update tonight, but there aren't a lot of teams that have better metrics than that. And that's what the NCAA selection committee is going to look at. they're not going to look at the 27-point loss to Alabama. And look, if the Gamecocks go on the road and lose to Georgia, their resume is still better than like 18 other teams, or it's a top 18 resume in the country. So the Gamecocks are just fine right now. Yeah. We start looking at NCAA tournament sites. JC, I know that you looked at it a little while ago. Like, don't get too far ahead of yourself, but that's where we're at right now.
I'm just saying.
Well, I think also this win tonight kind of solidifies the fact that regardless of what Grand Canyon does at this point, Virginia Tech, you've insulated yourself from the softer front loading of this schedule that I in no way, shape, or form fault Coach Paris for, because this is what it has produced. A team of experienced players who had no experience playing with themselves. And you were able to, against, arguably lesser competition, find this team's identity. And they have rolled into conference play with every bit of confidence as a team who has, just like Tennessee, been playing with each other for a good long time and knows how to function as a team together. And we're just seeing the fruits of that. But this win tonight insulates you from any and all argument about a soft schedule at the beginning of the season.
Well, because, we talked about this on the show, Phil. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so you're kind of living and dying with Grand Canyon and Virginia Tech, and then a little bit of Mississippi State. Because Virginia Tech and Grand Canyon keep going from like 45 to 51 to 45. And that line, that's what happened to the 2016 team. They had like 5 wins on the road in the league that were like top 60 wins, but the committee was looking for top 50. And the worry was, if Kentucky's your only quad 1 win at the end of the day, and you roll into the tournament and Grand Canyon gets bounced and Virginia Tech takes an L in the ACC tournament that bumps them down below 50, then they go all your quad 1 wins. So you're right. Perfect. You do insulate. It is an insulator, and there's more opportunities for insulator games.
This isn't over. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got to stay the course. This team can't just fall off and lose 9 in a row or anything stupid like that. I mean, you can, find yourself on the bubble in a heartbeat in the days of analytics and metrics with the net. But, you're set up now to where it's nice. How long has it been, gentlemen, that we've been able to say that the Gamecocks men's basketball team is in full control of their own destiny?
Well, they are, Phil. And it's a lot of fun too, because like this Gamecock team, regardless of what's happened these last, we'll call it 8 games, right? 6-2 in the SEC. If you can beat Missouri, and look, Mike Morgan's been saying this on the show, and I agree, they're a lot better than their record is right now. They're going to catch somebody. But you beat Kentucky by 17, and now you beat Tennessee on the road. And if you look at Michi, right now Michi's 1 for 14 on his last 14 attempts. Like, this team is not even running at, all cylinders.
BJ was what from the 3-point line tonight? Like,
I think he was 1 for 8. Yo. And here's the thing, JC. Like, on that note, 1 for 8, but 7 for 8 from the 3-point line. Like, and BJ still found 16 points tonight.
Oh, he was good.
Yeah. Like, once you get, and like, that's what people, I don't know if they actually realize, is this Gamecock team just beat the number 5 team in the country on the road. And they're probably like 90%, 85% of full efficiency. And they're only going to get better. Like, this is a team that, take the Alabama game and say, holy crap, that sucked. And then take the Georgia game and say it was, a referee, a lot of free throws, and Gamecocks missed free throws. They didn't deserve to win the game. They did not deserve to beat Georgia. But they're beating teams without being, necessarily full strength. Miles Studi was out like the previous 3 games. Like, this has not reached its full potential of a team. And hey, start looking like, and look, I'm the last person to get ahead of myself, but like, just start looking at it. And I mean, and Phil, this, I was on you and JB's show in the preseason. I was like, all right, NIT, like NIT is where we're going to be this year. And they continue to prove me wrong. And the more and more I watch them, the more and more they are an elite team in the SEC this year so far.
The difference between NCAA and NIT, winning road games and beating elite, having big wins.
Beating good teams. You can't just load up on the non-conference.
The Ramblin' Wreck has stunned North Carolina at McCamish Pavilion.
Are you kidding me?
UNC was up 11 last time I looked at the score. McCamish, I like the name of it. McCamish. It's a good Scottish name. But McCamish Pavilion. But yeah, I mean, I think that's it, Matt. And it's and if you really dig into this, the whole team ball aspect of it and the defense. I mean, you gotta South Carolina. I didn't think we would have a defense kind of like in basketball. We wouldn't be. I was like, well, there goes Frank Martin, there goes the pressure D and all that good stuff. This team's as good on defensively as any team Frank Martin had. They're probably not the turnover forcing bunch like the Final Four team.
Well, I can tell you they're not that. they're definitely not that.
They're not that, but they get back and they will grind you into a grinder, and it's kind of like my coach every coach we've had in the sport used to tell us, get back on defense, if I get back on defense.
Get back.
This team gets back. I mean, they get back on defense. You don't see very many runouts, too many fast breaks. Unless there's a turnover. So just an outstanding deal. And look, and big picture wise, guys, I think this program suffered enough to where winning is winning. And we can't. This is not going to the triple option in football. That's a program record, right? This is just a different style that Wisconsin, whoever has used through the years, just with great success. I think the SEC.
Well, it's a structured offense. I'm gonna cut you off, JC. It's just a structured offense that has a purpose. And there was one bad turnover the Gamecocks had tonight. And I think it was either Colin or Josh kind of turned and looked, towards the bench and threw in between two people. And the reason that turnover happened was because this is muscle memory now. They know that if I see these defenders right here, my teammate's going to be over there, and then it's going to be a three-pointer, or it's going to be another kick and pass, or I'm going to drop down and be on the block, and it's going to be, pass out to the wing, pass down to the corner, and a drop-down pass for me. And it was just an opportunity. And I think Derek said it. I don't know what the TV guy said, but it was just Jacoby was, one step away from where the pass was supposed to be. And, that's what caused the turnover. But that's actually beautiful basketball when you can, like JC, you say it all the time in football, play fast, don't think. And that's what the Gamecock offense is. And that's why it's beautiful.
No, it is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous brand. And they do work the shot clock, but they score. Like Craig pointed out, they score in the 70s when they shoot well. They score in the 80s when they shoot well. So it's not like they're not putting points on the board. The tempo is brought down. And in this league in basketball, Matt, it is a highly, highly athletic league. Most of your SEC programs, just like in football, have wonderful world-class athletes that like to go do big athletic things. They don't always like to guard you for 40 minutes. They don't always like to do the basketball things, Tennessee's one of the better defenses. I mean, Tennessee at least preaches defense. But, man, Tennessee looked tonight until the guy got going at the end like they wanted to throw up.
And they had an air ball.
Until that little run at the end.
Fired legs.
And you're just like, and it's in football, I call it a spider web team. Like Kentucky's the ultimate spider web team. You get caught in their web and they're going to beat you. Maybe Carolina's a little bit of that, but maybe, basketball's not football. In football, you have kind of a ceiling playing that way. In basketball, championships have been won playing that way.
Well, it's also funny, JC, because you talked about like the pace of play where the Gamecocks are, and just looking at KenPom right now. The Gamecocks average 63 possessions per game. 63 possessions for offense, 63 for defense. Coming into the game tonight, Tennessee averaged 70 offensive and defensive possessions. And guess what the possessions were tonight? 66. So it was almost just like a battle of fists hitting one another and said, okay, we're going to split this down the middle. And guess who came out on top? The Gamecocks.
Gamecocks, timely threes and free throws there at the end. Very proud of BJ Mack too. We mentioned earlier, like, he was not that great from three, but man, he was great I thought he was really good on the inside as far as willing his way to at least a trip to the foul line. And then he was 7 for 8. Gamecocks 83% from the foul line tonight compared to Tennessee 60. Even Connect was only 6 for 10, 3 for 8 from 3-point range. So not the best shooting night. He was
tired, dude. They threw guys at him all night long.
And he was not getting good outside looks early in the game. And then when he was trying to will himself to do it, he was just out of gas. I mean, he hit some clutch runs in there, hitting that, that inside lane or whatever on those, when he hit those 3 right back to back to back to really pull this team in it. And then that miraculous 3 there towards the end. But I mean,
Phil, like, talking about Connect, it was funny because, like, I just kept, and look, my mom taught me how to play basketball. She taught me how to shoot. Like, I owe everything in basketball to my mom, right? But we were watching the game, and I was like, he has to be tired. And my mom was like our coach, like in middle school, right? And she was like, no, he has adrenaline now. He's going to keep pumping him in. And thank God he didn't have the opportunity for a last shot tonight, because I think it would have gone in.
Oh, yeah, he scored their last what? He scored their last
like 8 or 11.
Yeah, they were at 55. They were at 50. They were at 46 when Ziegler made a free throw, and they ended at 59. So he scored their last 13 points. The horse got loose, y'all.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we held him back as long as we could, but dang old guy just got loose. There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Carolina's up 9, 55-46. And when they went up 9, I was like, I felt good. And then he scored the last 13 and gave us all some anxious moments. But anyway, I'll let you guys finish up. I just wanted to stop in and say hello to everyone. And what a win. I know you guys are going to. So tomorrow, Matt, we got Dane Bradshaw on the show tomorrow.
I hate I'm going to miss Dane, but I hope Dane tells you everything I just told you.
Yeah, Matt, you're on tomorrow too. I'll be there on Wednesday. Phil, who else do we have tomorrow?
Right now, we're working on Wes Rucker to see if we can't get a Vols reaction, but they're awfully quiet right now. I may hear from him tomorrow.
The internet's probably out in Knoxville right now. Yeah, there's no internet in Knoxville.
Knowing Wes, he's probably got post game and all kind of stuff, so I may hear.
No, I say that completely in jest. The CBS guys on their podcast always say when Indiana loses, the internet must go out because they don't hear from Indiana on social media. But no, Wes is a great guy. We'd love to talk to Wes if we get him on tomorrow.
Yeah, we want to talk a little bit about the NCAA case too up there, just get his perspective. It was, after we went off the air today, Tennessee's chancellor had released a scathing letter, she said, to the NCAA. I'm not so sure she's not right. I need to know more about what exactly they're trying to tattoo them on to see if it's because what you don't want, guys, I mean, everybody loves when Tennessee gets in trouble, right? Yeah, everybody likes that. But what you don't want is for the NCAA to start selectively enforcing things. And then it's just, you never know what you could do to get in trouble. And then the next thing, it could be you. So you don't want the North Korean Gestapo out there in NCAA country. But yeah, I'll be curious to talk to all you guys tomorrow. And thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the Late Night Gamecock show. It's my second time, and it gets more fun every time we do it.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again, JC. Thanks for popping on. All right, so Phil, me and you now, we've celebrated the win. This was a great one. Like I said, the Gamecocks are right there in the thick of it in the SEC. They're right there in the thick of it in college basketball. We'll see what happens Saturday at Georgia. I think it's hard to beat a team in the SEC 2 times in 1 year. I think the Gamecocks will clearly be ready. I always talk about this. There's always a scout that happens before your first game and especially after the second game. And look, Georgia's going to do it too. But Gamecock fans have nothing but to be proud, pump your chest. When you go into work tomorrow, go to the water cooler. If you can find a Tennessee fan, tell them good game and just say that. You don't got to say more. They know. Trust me, they know. But, Yeah, we'll do this again. So Phil, we're on tomorrow at 12 to 2. I'm on your show.
Yep.
Inside the Gamecocks show is 11 to 2 every single weekday. It's something that if I can't watch it live, I always try and catch up. So I hope all you guys can get there. We didn't hit any of our sponsors tonight, but obviously we have the Barndo Company, we have Chicken Cock, we have Dixie. We have Phil knows them all by heart. They'll all be on the show tomorrow. And if you can support them, it means the world, not only to them, but also to us on Inside the Gamecocks and the Chief Sports Network. And y'all, I say it every time. I appreciate y'all more than you know. Giving us your time and me your time is the most valuable thing you have. And it always means the world to me. And I feel it every single time. So I thank you for that. But with that, we're going to sign off. The Gamecocks got a big win tonight, and celebrate into the night if that's your thing. And we'll catch you tomorrow, and then we'll also be back on Thursday for even more Tennessee and Ford and baseball and basketball and football. It's a lot of fun right now. So Phil, you want to say good night to everybody?
Good night, everybody. I'll see you in the morning.
There we go. Well, you guys have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.